This is a bit much, but whatever. Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. I am finally filming my March wrap up. I've been putting it off because, well, I wasn't home and then I read too many books in March, so I know it's gonna take ages. I read 27 books in March. Luckily for me, I don't need to talk about all 27 here in this video. I'm very happy about that. But it's gonna take a while, and again, I'm gonna try to be... It's really bright. I don't know why I did it just myself. I'm gonna try to be quick, but also I don't like to be too quick. But also I get annoyed when I talk too much. So we will see how that goes. Why does wrap up exist? Like, why? How to like do it without suffering? I don't even know. So first, I'm gonna show you the books that I'm not going to talk about in this video, but I still read in March and I want to include them here. So my GotathingforSeason books are here, and a wrap up for GotathingforSeason will be up in the end of May, I think. So I read 4 books for that. There we have Odin's Children, which I read in English, but I did make a video about it, so I can leave a link down below, by C.A. Patterson, Shiny Broken Pieces by Diana Clayton and Sona Sharapotra, and then The Get a Life Scully Brown by Talia Hibbert, and The Dam by Renee Adier. These 4 will I be wrapping up in my GotathingforSeason wrap up in the end of May, as I just said. So now we only have 23 books left. I also did Bookoplathon in the month of March, where it was a 48-hour readathon and the prompts dropped every 12 hours. I did a reading vlog and a full wrap up for that already, so I will leave those links down below, and we don't need to talk about those books either in this video, but I'm gonna show to you what I read for that. I managed to read 8 books in 48 hours. I was very proud and it went really well and I was very happy. So the 8 books I read for Bookoplathon were the following: And That's a Dream by Shannon McGraw, Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco, There's Something About Sweetie by Zendaya Manon, Diary of an Oxygen Thief by Anonymous, Iron Heart by Nina Varela, Legion by Brandon Sanderson, The Sun on Our Flowers by Ruby Kaur, and The Serpent King by Jeff Santner. So all these I already talked about in my Bookoplathon wrap up, which again will be linked down below if you want to hear my thoughts on these 8 books. I am actually really happy I made a separate wrap up for that, because else I would have to talk about those 8 books here together with all the other ones I read. So again, I'm just happy that I made that decision. This side was better, so I'm sitting on this side. The first book I read for March was Northern Lights by Philip Pullman, and really close to it I also read Southern Life by Philip Pullman. This was because I wanted to watch his Dark Materials, the show, and I had already watched the first season, because even though I was planning to reread this before watching it, I just watched it anyway. I had read this before, and then we were gonna watch the second season, and I binged this in like one day so we could watch the second season at once. So yeah, I finally read the sequel, and I'm excited to read the third book soon-ish, at least this year. This third season hasn't arrived yet, so I have some time this time. Do I say what this is about? It's such a known series. It's set in a world where children right now are being kidnapped and we don't really know why, and then we have Lyra, whose best friend gets kidnapped and she wants to find out what happened to him. She lives in an Oxford in a different world. She also has a demon, which is like the soul outside the body in animal form. There is a lot of things happening, and there's like a beautiful world, interesting characters. I just really like the world, okay? Second book did go places I didn't expect, but it was also fun, and it is an enjoyable series. I think I gave both of these 4 stars. Actually, I think I gave the first one like 2.5 and this one 4 stars. It's a fun series, and I'm excited to like finally actually finish it at some point. I then read Demon Slayer Volume 4 by Koyo Goto Uge. This one follows Tanjiro, whose whole family gets killed by demons, except his sister, who's turned into a demon, and he becomes a demon slayer to learn more about them so that he can eventually cure her to become human again, because then he thinks he's a cure, and then to learn more about demons he becomes a demon slayer. He becomes a demon slayer to kill demons. It's a really, really fun series. The series is finished, but I'm only on Volume 4, and I think it's like 20 volumes. I have quite a way to go, but I'm very excited to see the series develop. The anime is also lots of fun. I'm very excited to see more of that, and also continue with this series. It is really fun. I wouldn't like say it was my fave, but I would say it's very enjoyable. The light is fucked anywhere where I sit, and it was annoying to sit over there. I then also read My Dress Up Darling Volume 3 by Shinji Fukuda. This one follows Wakana, and he wants to make Hina dolls like his grandfather does, and then this one girl who is very pretty and popular asked him to make him a cosplay because he's good with like, I guess like design and clothing and stuff, and he's really good at it. She starts cosplaying and they have a good time. It's a bit like trash manga, a lot of fan service, a bit sexualized things, and like there's this one dude and a lot of hot girls surrounding him right now. I think it's fun, but it is a bit trash, but it's definitely entertaining. It's just weird though. I've just like picked it up randomly because Cecilia from Cecilia Reads said that they had read it recently, and I was just like, okay, and then picked up the first volume, and I would just continue reading them because now I've already started and I feel weird not finishing it. But it's a weird series, but it has enjoyable parts. It's mostly funny, I think. It's mostly funny. I then read Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I read this in preparation for Wars of Radiance because people told me, or Justine told me, to read this before I read the words, and I did. And this one kind of put me in the reading slump because I had a big assessment that week, but I was going to read anyway. But since I couldn't like use brain cells, this, like, I just read like one chapter a day. So I used ages on this, but I didn't want to. But somehow I read a lot more. So this one for the two sisters who are both princesses. One of the princesses were supposed to marry the God King and has prepared herself to do this all her life. But the God King is like a bad dude. He is like rumored to be like very brutal and horrible, etc. Because they're from two factions within this country. So they hear like a lot of bad things about like the other people. But then the father favorizes one of the daughter and sends out the other daughter that like was not prepared to marry the God King, and then, well, the other daughter that was supposed to marry and go after her to save her, and then the plot ensues for that. We also follow like another perspective from like, I guess, one of the living gods, you can say, because like there's living gods in this, but are they gods? That's like a whole question in the book. And then there's a whole cool magic system based upon color, and of course in Brandon's style. It is great, it's fun. I'm excited to see the sequels to this, as well as, you know, Elantris, because both of those are set in Cosmere World, but only the first book has been out for years and we haven't gotten sequels yet. I'm very excited to eventually when we get sequels, and I do love how this connected in with Wars of Radiance, which is a spoiler, but like I read Words now in April, and like how this connected, it was nice. I'm just excited to see more, and like it was a perfect story with Brandon Sanderson's style. Everything came together as it's supposed to. So intriguing word and politics and characters, and I just loved it. So 5 out of 5 stars. Yay. I also read My Hero Academia volume 26 by Koi Horikoshi. This one is set in a world where 80% of the population has quirks or like a kind of power, so turn into superhero supervillain society. And Midoriya, our main character, wants to be a hero, but he doesn't have a quirk, and then he kind of gets one, and he goes to hero school. That what like the whole main basis is. It's these characters finding villains, and like this specific group of villains and other smaller villains, and them learning and being heroes, and it is so precious and fun. And I've been reading this for a long time now. Volume 26, it's been the manga I've read the most of ever, and now I'm stuck forever because like if I stop reading now it would have been all pointless, right? But yeah, I enjoyed so much, and here's all my 3 favorite characters. Not this dude, but the other ones. So yeah, I'm not caught up on an anime at all. Actually, I only watched like 2 seasons, 1.5, I don't even remember. So I'm so far in like the manga, and that's like almost never happens. So there is that. I then read Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare, which is the sequel to Chain of Gold, which came out last year, which is the sequel series to the Inferno Devices, which is one of the series in the Shadowhunter Chronicles. Whew, that was a mouthful. This is like the other series set back in the day, following the Shadowhunters. In this world, we basically follow the kids from the characters in Inferno Devices. And Inferno Devices is like one of my favorite series in the Shadowhunter Chronicles. And these characters here are so precious. Like, I love them all so much. Would even, like, I don't even like know how to tell you the plot, because like, yeah, it follows the kids and the Shadowhunters' problems and shit. As I said, I love these characters so much. I would die for so many of these characters, and just how they interact and everything come together. It's so good. I would say actually I like Chain of Gold more than this, and I would say I was a bit disappointed in this. I was reading and I just felt like nothing was happening, even though like I read like 200 pages and I was like, nothing has happened. It's just like I don't know. So like, it's not my fave installment in Shadow the Chronicles, but I am enjoying myself a lot and I adore a lot of things. So like, no denying that at all, but it was a bit disappointing. I think I had like very high expectations, but it was fun, of course, and was very dramatic, especially Cordelia and James in this. They making me so annoyed, but like, it is very Cassandra Clare to have like forbidden love. It's her trademark to have like a ridiculous reason why people can be together, and we need to follow that pattern, so I am fine. But yeah, I'm very excited to do the last book in the trilogy coming, and I'm just excited to be still getting books in this series, because I would die for them all and I am okay. But yeah, I gave this like 4 out of 5 stars because I did really like it. I just felt, I guess, a bit disappointed. Doesn't mean it was bad, it's just my feelings were a bit disappointed, I guess. Yay. Look at my nice book tower. You can't see the whole thing, but but it looked great. Then I read like another completely new release in another really popular series, which was of course A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This one is the first book in a new trilogy in A Court of Thorns and Roses. So like, A Court of Thorns and Roses originally was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, following Farah, who like was taken by the beast, and you know, the whole bell thing. Can break the curse, blah blah blah. I call it Fae porn, and it's great. So this one we follow Nesta, who is Farah's sister, and just her in the journey after everything that happened in the first trilogy, her coming to terms with everything happened, dealing with a lot of PTSD and depression and self-worth issues, and like coming to terms with all that and growing. So it's a very character driven story, and I personally don't love those. I love like plot driven stories where like a lot of plot happens, while of course the characters are also great. This was just very character driven and character focused, and I didn't mind it because I guess I'm used to Sarah, yeah, but I just feel like the plot was almost non-existent in this. There was just like this tiny conflict, but it was very much on the side for Nesta's inner journey, and I guess that's fine. It was just not, I guess, like, I liked A Court of Thorns and Roses, like, there's a lot of character in journeys there too, but it was still, like, exciting plots and plot twists, I think, but here, I think I was missing that, even though, like, sadly things do happen. So, like, I did enjoy a lot of scenes though. There was a lot of smut, and I was screaming. It was good. It was a good ride. I love me some smut, and I love the character. So like, that's why, since it was so character driven, I didn't mind the character drivenness, since, as I said, I enjoyed the character so much. So it was fine. Like, yeah, I did not like it. I just wish it had more plot, I guess. But yeah, 4 or 5 stars. I did really like myself, and as I said, I love the characters. I didn't mind. I'm just saying the same things over and over, but here we are. Piling these two together, we have Promised Neverland Volume 12 and Volume 13 by Kaio Shirai. This one is a manga series following these kids in an orphanage. They live a super happy and cool life until they find out a secret about the orphanage, but I don't want to spoil the secret for you, even though you can read it behind on the first volume. And we are now far into the series, and this is the kind of series you can't talk about without spoiling, I think, but overall it's like one of my faves. It has gone on so, I don't even have words apparently, but like, we are far and beyond of what I would ever have expected reading in the beginning. It's like one of my faves. It's so good. I am so happy that I would like managed to come up to 13, and I think it's 20 volumes. It's either this that's 20 or Demon Slayer that's 21. There's one has 20 and one has 21. I don't remember which one, but point is that it is everything. In volume 12, things developed in a way that I didn't expect, and that was very sudden, and I was just like, oh, so we're doing it this way, and it was very interesting. But I did like that step that Arthur took, I guess I can say that, but that's all you're getting. But yeah, one of my babes. If you are hesitant, then this is your calling to say go for it. And I also read A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. This was the book of the month for Faes and Gaze, which is the book club I am co-hosting, where we read queer, sci-fi or fantasy every single month, and this was our March pick. The live show has already aired. I will leave it linked down below if you're interested to see a full hour discussion with the chaoticness, but it was great. It was a great live show. So what to say? Like, I will admit that this, I didn't enjoy that much. It's probably the least favorite book we picked. I wish I had loved it. I truly did. But the writing was just not on top. That was confusing how the world was created. The characters were all like very bland and not interesting. And the plot was very weird, and I would not say like it didn't hold up. And like, I guess like there are these murders happening. I didn't even say what the book was about. I'm sorry. There's these murders happening. It's a Fae story, and then we have 4 queer characters that meet together to find out these murders, I guess. And the thing that annoyed me, I guess, the most was that we were told in the beginning that these people are behind the murders, and then they find out that they were behind the murders and they stop them. So like, there's no like surprises. There's nothing like, oh my god, it's really like this. We were told from the beginning everything, and it just, then the story didn't become compelling. And I guess if I liked the characters more, I really liked it more, but overall I just didn't like the writing. I didn't like the characters. The world was built weird. We like in a Fae world. I thought we were in a high fantasy world, but we were in our world. People had like some like iPhones and stuff, and I was just, it was really off-putting, I think, for me. So sadly I didn't like it. Oh, and also there was this plot convenience where like the main characters get kind of this magic thing. That was like the most annoying thing actually. So we talked about a lot of these things in the live show. I recommend checking that out. I'm sad I didn't like this as much. Like the few elements that I could appreciate, but there was not enough to carry the story for me. Like this one character who was a side character, I loved him, who was the cousin to Arlo. Yeah, I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars. So sorry, but yeah, I will read the sequel and see if I like that more, because sometimes the first book can be shaky and then the rest can be good, who knows. I also read Given Volume 5, which was one of my favorites for the month, and this is one of in the series that follows this band named Given, and they're all basically gay and love each other, and this one having so many precious things. I adored it so much. It really gave me that 5-star feeling, which I like rarely get for book I read in general, I feel like. But this was just so good. It was so precious. Such a beautiful story. I need to watch the anime or the rest of it so I can hear the actual music. Yes, I think I will cry. And I'm just so excited to continue with this beautiful story with these characters having so much pain inside of them and then finding solace in each other, and I'm getting goosebumps because I'm thinking about it, and I adore it so much. I get this 5 out of 5 stars. So if you're hesitant, again, this is your calling. But yeah, I adore the story and the characters immensely, just saying. Sadly in March I only got to listen to one audiobook. I planned one more but I didn't get time, and that was The Gathering Storm by Will Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. So this one is now the first book of like the last 3 ones that Brandon Sanderson wrote, because Robert sadly passed away, and it continues of course the Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time basically follows these characters that lived in this place called Emmons Field, which is like far away from like a lot of the big cities, and then this Asadai shows up, who is a woman with power, and she says that one of them is the Dragon Reborn, and they go out on this journey with her to defeat the Darkborn. That is like the short analysis. I don't know how else to say it, but it has one of the most realistic and great worlds I have ever read. Like it is so real. I kind of forget it's not real reading it, because now that I read 12 books with the same world, it just feels so realistic and real, and like I literally live in this world. And these characters, it's just like you've been on a journey with them for so long that not being with them anymore is gonna feel weird. But yeah, I used my time reading this series, but now this is the year I'm gonna actually finish it. But yeah, I think it was really good. So many things happened. I can't talk about it because it's spoiler. So many things happened. I was a happy child. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because it was so good. When everything goes down, because it's been building up for a long time, it's just so worth it in so many ways. I really enjoyed this, and apparently I gave it 5 stars, and I had forgotten. I don't think I rated any other Wheel of Time books 5 stars before this one. I need to double check this because I might have written my notes wrong. Clearly, I was feeling over emotional when I finished it. But yeah, I rate things based on like how I felt about the plot and the characters and the writing, and then also like my feelings towards it, because it's my personal rating. Apparently I rated it 5 stars. Well, dang, I even forgotten I did that. Well, apparently I really enjoyed this. Yeah, my brain cells are not that big apparently. Just all coming together so nicely, and I'm so excited to finish the series because it's great. It's truly great. It just had a little in the middle. It was a lot of things where things didn't happen, but now we are past that. So now it's just so much fun. Not that it wasn't fun, it was just things didn't happen, so then it wasn't fun. Get me? There's a curtain in a way. My bear, can you stand in front of the curtain so it doesn't fall in my face? I talked to this, by the way, just so you know. Like, I didn't talk to myself. I mean, I do that sometimes too, but especially when I'm reading. And then I also finally read The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is the first book in the King Cole Chronicles. It's gonna be a trilogy, but we only have 2 books out. Oh my god, of course. And like a novella, I think. I've been putting off starting this because I know the 3rd book will never come, and I don't like to wait, and I don't want to reread like just to remember everything. But then I started it anyway because this was the year for adult fantasy, as you know if you've been watching me for a little while this year. This one is set over 3 days where we are in this inn, and the innkeeper tells the story of his life. His name is Kota, and he has done many different things, and now he's basically telling the story of his childhood, him living in the city for a while, and then also going to university for a while to learn different things about magic, among other things. And I was really surprised how like the main character really had to struggle for money. Not like I say that it's not a real struggle, but I was just surprised of the focus on it, and I thought that was very interesting to see that he really needed money to survive. And I feel like that focus on money or like other things when it is a problem, like sometimes forgotten in fantasy, but here it was very consistent throughout. So that was one of the interesting things from this. I feel like we didn't get to see that much of the magic. Like kind of had like some science shit, but I didn't really get it. because I'm an idiot. Like the money part and like the female, I guess, love interest we can call her, were like my favorite and most interesting parts. I did film a reading vlog reading it, so you can see more like live reactions and stuff, even though my reading vlog sucks, but who cares. But it's up on my channel and I will leave a link down below as well, so you can check that out when I was reading it. But overall, for many years, I have seen people talk about The Name of the Wind. I have 4 editions of it before even reading it. It's like, if you Google best fantasy blah blah blah, this one always shows up on the list, and it's like people's faves. People die for this book. I felt a bit underwhelmed. I guess maybe my expectations were very high since I'd seen so many praises for so many years, but I just feel like the story wasn't as complex and amazing, and I guess I imagine myself more in like a Brandon Sanderson-esque story. Not like, I'm not saying like it needed to be like similar, but then I mean that Brandon Sanderson always has like really amazing plot twists, like there's always another secret. But here I felt like the story was more slow paced and we go through this character's life, seeing more like mundane things, not like we don't see that in Brandon Sanderson, but you get the point. So it reminded me more of like Robin Hobb's books, where we really go through the character and it's more slow paced and like then amazing things happens, but it's not like this big explosion. I don't know why I thought like this was more like a Brandon Sanderson-esque story, but that's what I expected. I'm not saying it was bad, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, but I guess my expectations and what I thought the story was very much different from what I read. I'm not saying it wasn't good, I'm just saying that I don't think it was as good as I expected it to be, and I gave it only 4 stars, and I thought for sure it would be a 5-star read, but I did enjoy it. It was just, as I said, much more slow paced and detailed, and they didn't really get to like the big things that like Quoted is talking about that he has done, and I wonder how that will be covered in book 2 and book 3. And I know people said that book 2 has too many open storylines for it to like all close down in book 3, so I'm just very nervous to how it would turn out. But yeah, the writing was also very good, and as I said, 4 stars, and I am excited to read the second book later this year. And the last book we were talking about here, which I feel like went much quicker than usual, so either I was good being quick or just did a good job for once. I don't even know. One of the last books I read in March was Kongen forteller, which is a Norwegian biographical but not really book about the king by Harald Stanghelle, I think. And I read this actually on my first appearance on my channel, and I read it like all in one day, and I borrowed it from my library, so I don't have the physical copy anymore because I had to turn it back because it was someone else had reserved it, so I only had like 3 weeks or something to read it. But I did read it in one day, so like I didn't need 3 weeks. Point was, I don't have a copy anymore, and I wanted to read this because I am very fascinated by monarchies. I really like royalist stories, like especially fantasy, so I like royalness in real life too. I don't even know, I always wanted to be a princess. There's probably something to do with that. I wanted to read this because I do want to learn more about the royal family we have here, and it's not like a biographical novel, it's more like the king's relationship to different, I guess, events in Norwegian history, and also just like different interests in his life. So it's not like he was born and then we learn about like his whole life. It's more like just different reflections upon like his relationship to different things that's happened in Norway, or like his personal life. And it was very interesting. I did enjoy a lot of the different parts, learning about like many things I didn't know about, like under the Second World War, and like other things in the family, learning more about, I guess, like his grandchild, which will be our future queen, and different things like that. Those parts were interesting. I just didn't like how it was written, I guess. It felt really like tedious and long sometimes, and sometimes we got like different, I guess, like quotes for different politicians and different people that I had no idea who are, because like apparently the cultural life of Norway, I don't keep up. So it was like lots of quotes of like what they said about different things, and I was just like, who are you? I don't really care about you. So I like wish there was less of that and more of like from the actual king himself, more like, I guess, I wouldn't actually say dialogue, because like it was like based upon conversations he had with the king and like other works. So I guess like I would just wish we could have more direct quotes from him maybe, and not just like, I don't know, just like lots of text, I guess. But yeah, overall I think our king is pretty cool. He said some weird things in the book that I was just a bit like, why did he say that? But like overall I think he's cool, and I gave it like 2 out of 5 stars. Like I liked it, but I didn't love it or like would overly think about it a lot, but I think I learned some things from it, and it was definitely something different that I usually don't read. So I'm like, I don't regret reading it, and that is it. And that was all the books I wanted to talk about this video. I'm very surprised that it went so quick, but it's because I did that other wrap up for Bookoplathon, so I'm glad for that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Finally I filmed my wrap up and I put it off, and this was probably like the easiest wrap up I've ever filmed. Like my voice is only half dead and not completely dead, so there's that. Leave like the king emoji down below, you know, like the emoji with the crown on, if you like this video. I'm gonna prepare myself to hold the books for the thumbnail, and you will see me soon in a new one. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.